We're not rolling the dice. There was not enough data on it. It's like you have a cardiac arrest, it is over. We don't want this on our resume. They was not going back to perform the play. And he told me, he was like, man, I'm gonna be honest, it took me about 2.5 years to finally get back to just normalcy. Like my body, my mind, and he said when it happened to me, I was 23 years old. Bronny was 19 years old, and he's like, it's gonna take a little time, and I reason with that, but also he's doing things right now less than 2 years.
Yeah.
So do I think Bronny belong in the league? Hell no. He ain't that good. He ain't even that good to be playing overseas against them overseas players.
Look, I'm going to be real with you right from the start. We need to talk about what's been happening with Bronny James, because the footage that just dropped has absolutely broken the internet. And I'm not talking about some feel-good father-son moment. I'm talking about heated exchanges, coaches screaming, and a kid who's trying to figure out where he fits in all of this. Let me paint the picture for you. Bronny James was drafted 55th overall by the Lakers in 2024. Right away, people had opinions, strong opinions. By late 2025, he'd played in just 10 NBA games, averaging 2.1 points and shooting under 30% from the field. Those aren't just bad numbers, they're the kind of numbers that normally get you cut. But here's the kicker. Bronny signed a 4-year, $7.9 million fully guaranteed contract. For a late second rounder, that's practically unheard of. Now, here's where things get spicy. The first piece of viral footage shows Lakers head coach JJ Redick absolutely losing it on the sidelines. During a game, Bronny passed up an open jumper and Redick screamed at him to shoot the ball. The frustration was real, man. Bronny had played 10 minutes and taken only 2 shots. 2 shots in 10 minutes. That's not just hesitation, that's paralysis. The video spread everywhere. Some people praised Redick for holding Bronny accountable like any other player. Others said publicly humiliating a struggling 21-year-old does more harm than good. And you know what the wildest part is? Bronny handled it with surprising maturity. He told reporters he's focusing on off-ball play and actually credited Redick for the tough love. Shortly after, he went back to the G League and dropped 15 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds and 3 steals. That's the kind of response you want to see. But then, in December 2025, another video dropped that made the Redick incident look tame. During a G League game, Bronny got into a heated exchange with a coach and then he walked off the court mid-game. He actually walked off. The performance that night, 10 points on 4 of 12 shooting, 0 for 5 from 3, 5 rebounds, 1 assist and 4 turnovers. Not exactly the stat line that gives you leverage in an argument with your coach. Now let's address the elephant in the room, nepotism. Charleston White put it bluntly when he said Bronny only averaged 4 points a game in college and got a guaranteed $7 million contract as a rookie. That doesn't happen unless your dad is LeBron James. Former players like Kwame Brown and Chandler Parsons called it embarrassing nepotism. They said Bronny's taking a spot from someone who actually earned it. But here's the thing that makes this conversation more complicated than people want to admit. The NBA is full of nepotism. The Buss family has controlled the Lakers since 1979. Danny Ainge's son became Jazz president. Mike Malone got his start because his father was a legendary assistant coach. Josh Kroenke runs the Nuggets because his dad owns them. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski said the NBA is filled with nepotism in ownership, front offices and coaching. So, why is everyone only mad about Bronny? Some cultural commentators have even framed this as black nepotism as a flex. They argue that minorities rarely get access to these kinds of privileges in systems that historically favor established white families. In this view, LeBron helping his son is just doing what generations of wealthy white families have done without scrutiny. One commentator said his dad got him and all his homies jobs at a GameStop warehouse after high school. They didn't earn it, but it enhanced their lives. Then there's Stephen A. Smith. In March 2025, LeBron approached Stephen A. courtside at a Lakers-Knicks game and confronted him about his criticism of Bronny. The interaction went viral, but Stephen A. didn't back down. He went on his own show and fired back hard. He said LeBron was the one who claimed Bronny was better than half the dudes on League Pass before he was even drafted. He called out LeBron for circumventing meritocracy. Stephen A. said when LeBron approached him courtside claiming he was attacking his son, LeBron was lying. He said if LeBron had been honest about what he was doing as a father, they could have had a real conversation. But let's talk about something people keep forgetting. In July 2023, Bronny suffered cardiac arrest during USC practice due to a congenital heart defect. He needed surgery and missed half his college season. His heart stopped. Think about that for a second. For a 19-year-old to face his own mortality and then return to competitive basketball at the highest level, that takes incredible mental strength. One person who went through something similar told Bronny it took him 2.5 years to get back to normal, and he was 23 when it happened. Bronny's doing this less than 2 years later at 19 years old. By January 2026, Bronny had played in 45 total games, averaging 1.6 points and shooting 30% from the field. Those numbers aren't good. Nobody's pretending they are. But there have been flashes. On December the 31st, 2025, he dropped 20 points on 8 of 11 shooting with 5 rebounds and 7 assists against the Memphis Hustle. That's the kind of game that gives you hope. His strengths are becoming clearer: defensive IQ, athleticism, ability to make plays in transition, and occasional flashes of aggressiveness attacking the basket. His weaknesses are equally obvious: shooting consistency at 27.3% from 3, a 0.72 assist-to-turnover ratio, and being undersized for his position. Bronny himself acknowledged in a March 2025 interview that he knew the nepotism conversation was inevitable, but he said it fuels him. He sees everything people say about him, and it motivates him. The Lakers are showing patience too. As of January 2026, there have been no trades, no cuts. Despite sitting at 25-20, the organization seems committed to the long game. But maybe the real question isn't about Bronny at all. Maybe it's about us, about how we consume sports in the age of viral content and instant judgment. Do we even allow young athletes the space to grow anymore? Every moment of Bronny's career is captured, analyzed, criticized, and turned into memes. As long as his father remains one of the greatest players in basketball history, as long as debates about nepotism rage on, Bronny James will remain one of the most fascinating and frustrating stories in professional sports. Because at the end of the day, he's just a 21-year-old kid trying to figure out who he is, not as LeBron James's son, but as Bronny James, basketball player. Whether we'll ever let him do that remains to be seen.